Well, I joined the Marine Corps in 1969. Went to boot camp in San Diego. I went to avionics school at NAS Memphis, and then on to Precision Measurement Electronics School at Lowry Air Force Base. After that, I was assigned to MCAS El Toro and worked in the qualification lab calibrating test equipment. When I first got out, I went back to work for Bendix Aerospace. I worked on the space program there, and when the space program ended, everybody was cut loose, and I went to work at a local sports center. At that time, I was doing military funerals as the bugler, and I hadn't belonged to an organization. At that time, I was approached by several of the people in town and asked if I would like to join the American Legion, which I did, but it was 20 years after I got out. And my job at the time, I worked for the railroad. I was out of town a whole lot, but in 1991, when the Middle East broke out, a bunch of us from our post in Holly would go to the rallies in Pontiac, march in the parades and that kind of thing, and it got me hooked. And I have spent a great deal of time since then with the American Legion. At that time, I got involved with the district and was district commander in 1999. So I got to serve district commanders 2 centuries, as 1999 to 2000. I spent a whole lot of time there. I enjoyed every minute of it. I met a lot of great people. We've lost a lot of those great people, but I'm meeting more, and it's been a wonderful experience. Some of my goals would be to hopefully get the state redistrict. At present, we have lost a few districts. We have some places that the districts have gotten extremely large because of that kind of thing where the districts merged, where posts were lost, and we need to take a look at that and get redistricting done. And in order to accomplish that, we're going to have to do the zones also. So district and zones get redesignated so that it more adequately covers the Legionnaires of the state. Another project that I would like to do, and my project for the year, will be Fisher House, Michigan. I was privileged to go down a month or so ago when I was invited when they decided, Post 46 decided they were going to challenge the state and make a donation to Fisher House, Michigan, and Fisher House, Michigan set up a dedication program or a program for the donation, and was on the site of the new Fisher House. It's going to be built at the Ann Arbor VA. So our post has for many years donated to the Fisher House, and when the Fisher House, Michigan came about, we changed our donations to that, and I believe wholeheartedly in Fisher House, Michigan. Another thing that I would like to do, we need to, with the lack of members that would like to be on committees for the department, we also need to maybe change some constitution and bylaws to allow people to serve that are on committees that don't necessarily cover any base, but they're prohibited from serving on another committee because of it. And I would like to perhaps get the legislation started so that we could use our membership more efficiently with our committees in the department. I worked for the Grand Trunk Western Railroad, which is now Canadian National. I worked in the signal department. When I hired in, I was on the construction crew. We installed signal locations, warning devices at crossings and that kind of thing. As things became more advanced, there was more electronics involved, and I was trained in electronics in the Marine Corps, so my natural step was to move into an electronics technician position with the railroad. We installed and tested all of the electronic equipment for communications with the office and the electronic equipment that ran the warning devices. I also worked in the dispatcher's office. In the IT portion of that, we took care of the computers and all the programs that the dispatchers used to control trains, and that was quite an interesting experience. It was an awful lot of late nights because with any situation that's new, there's problems, and when they put electronics on railroad tracks, it loved lightning, and I would spend probably 5 nights a week out in the middle of the night fixing things that, because it looked like it was going to lightning and it broke. You know, it was just static electricity would start to build and discharge through our equipment. And until they decided how they were going to change the grounding on everything, we were spent a lot of time replacing things. And when the tornado went through Fenton, it took out part of our equipment. The power lines went down and just blew everything up. There was a big charred mess where it was. And so that was the type of thing that I did for 32 years. I am married to May, my wife of 8 years, going on 9 years. She amazingly married me in the middle of all of this, and she's a wonderful lady. She had 2 children and a grandchild, and we have a great time as a family. May is the unit president of Unit 149, and they were a little bit on hard times, and with the help of the other ladies, they're bringing it back, and the unit's beginning to function well again. And May is by my side all the time. It's not just, I'll see you later type thing. She's usually with me, so we do things together, and that's the way we both like it. And I was really surprised the way she dove into everything, but she loves it, and we have a good time doing it. My mother's 93, and my mother, I can't keep her out of it. She still belongs to the auxiliary and goes to the meetings, so I wouldn't want to keep her out of it. She just wants to be there and wants to be involved, and I love her for it. My mother joined the auxiliary in 1971. So my dad, of course, was in the Marine Corps, as well were 2 of my uncles, so that's how I ended up there. So it's she was an officer up until this year, so she is definitely into the thing. And every year at Memorial Day, she has one of my major jobs is to get the auxiliary magnetic signs to put on her car so she can be in the parade. I'm a Legionnaire because when I was asked to join the American Legion, it was by people in the community that I had high respect for, that had held the post together through thick and thin, and they asked if I would be willing to come aboard and help. And when I did, I found a whole bunch of people that I had known my whole life. It was an experience that when you walk into people you've known your whole life that you've had high respect for, and then you're asked to join them, you can't believe the feeling that you get. It's just like, maybe I've made it here, And then when we started, I was dragged to a district meeting the second month I belonged to the Legion. And I met a whole bunch of wonderful people there. And I learned about the programs that the American Legion does. Back in that time, the district meetings were 2 and 3 hours long because of all the reports that were given by the committee chairman. And at first, the first one I went to, I thought, this is an awful long time. But then I thought about what was said during that meeting and what those results of those reports were. And it worked on me. It worked on me, and I thought this is something I could really get into, and I did. And quite obviously, I have spent a lot of time doing it, and I hope I've done the job well. I just love helping people, and that's what the Legion's all about, is helping veterans and their families. And I love doing it, and it's spurred me to do other things in my life, and I really appreciate the whole experience.